on, before we get into product life cycles, let's have this conversation just for my helpful with Learn Smart. So, heard some people don't like maybe how long it is. So let me start with the question is it teaching you anything? Are you learning anything? Do you feel like you know the material any better after having to spend any time with it?
Yes, I think it's beneficial.
Okay, Donnie? Donnie's more of a half-half.
It's a lot.
We're gonna get to the volume. Let's start with the learning aspects of it. The methodology stuff, does it marry up with the PowerPoint presentations and talking about here, and it just adds another layer of, okay, all right. So then, because let me tell you why I thought it would be advantageous. One is, as I told you, I'm trying to be flexible with how much time you're in class because of this hybrid model, and yet we got to make sure we're getting the learning done that we need to get done. And so when you're not in class at all that week, and you don't watch me on lecture, and I gotta have some confidence that you're learning the material. And so this way, at least you can do it at home, do it whenever you want to, that sort of thing. It adds some flexibility, but yet adds some assurance that the university that we're teaching you what you need to learn. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Now, how it works on my side, just to give you a for instance, I can go through and pick kind of the chapter headings. They're not exactly the chapter headings, but I can pick the content that I think you guys should be doing. And I rarely pick the entire book. If I picked every chapter, Learn Smarts would be almost, depending on the chapter, be an hour to an hour and a half, okay? So what I do first is I go through and I remove, not that it's not all important, I leave check the things that I think are useful, that you might actually use in your life and not just pass a test, okay? So that then narrows it, now it drops maybe from an hour and a half to an hour. And then I can actually, I can slide this little button and make it from 45 to 35 to 20 to 22. With the thought being that the lower I go, the less obviously you're gonna learn, right? And so I've just been bouncing kind of between 30 minutes and 45 minutes is kind of what I've been doing. And mostly that's been based on the workload that we're either doing or not doing out of class. Okay, so now, volume of work standpoint or functionality that's frustrating to work with, like I know you said you didn't like the gal talking to you, or whatever. So let's talk about that a little bit, what you like or don't like about that piece of it.
I don't know what each one's gonna be. Like I said, one might be 40-some questions, one might be 30-some questions, and of course I prefer the ones that are 30-some questions. But I mean, I do get the reasoning behind it, and this is like paying a bill. I don't want to do it, but I know it is beneficial and needs to be done.
Okay.
So it's not the messaging or concept of it. The girl is annoying, so
Yeah.
The questions that get me are the ones that say, check all that apply.
I hate those questions.
Cause I always will miss one. I'll check like 2 of them when there'll be like 3 answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'll check 3 of them when there was only 2.
Okay.
I hate
That
those ones you gotta
frustrates
match up, like put these in order, and you gotta like link them together. I just want like a question.
Fill in the blanks
Yeah.
are nice, and the ones where it just has you pick one answer.
Yeah.
I don't like some of the type in your answer because I'm not a good speller,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Yeah,
counts
that
wrong.
gets me too.
I'm not a good speller.
Like,
So,
I won't make it plural.
yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
It's like you said this, but you meant this.
Yeah.
Which I think if you're only like
Yeah, it can-
one
it can-
like letter off, it'll count it right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how about since we're on the topic, how about the quizzes and the exams? Do the quizzes help you at all for the exam? Do you feel like there's any connection there?
I feel like the exams from here is so off of what I anticipate. That's
So then, let me ask you this. Are any of you guys doing reading of the book outside of Learn Smart?
The
Or
Learn
the
Smart,
only reading you're doing is what is in Learn Smart?
for me, the Learn Smart will, when I go through it, I will go through Learn Smart before I even open the book, just to see what it's about, kind of familiarize myself. And there are things in the Learn Smart that make me want to read something out of pure interest, like the Hawthorne effect or some of the Mander theories, stuff like that. I will go back and read.
Yeah.
So that's what it makes me do.
Okay, because that's part of your challenge with the exams, is if the exam is over the entire book. So I don't pull in,
Yeah, I
like
know.
on the Learn Smarts, I'll remove some of those things, but I won't remove any of that stuff. I take it back, I'll remove a couple things, but not much, most of it's over the entire book.
like this last quiz, it's, 100 minutes, whatever, 2 hours, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, when it was, half the time was left, I was like, okay, I should be at least on question 50, and I was on question 37. And so like, just that general countdown, I was on.
Add stress.
Yeah.
So what if the time limit was more?
It's kind of, I mean, that would help me take the quiz, but at the same time, when I start the quiz, I know it's 2 hours, I know no matter what, 2 hours is gonna be done.
Yeah.
So it's a twofold,
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because I try to be cautious with that too, even on these YouTubes. Part of why I try to split them, one, the technology was freezing and all that, but I also realized if I'm gonna get you to watch one, it's probably gonna be easier to get you to watch a 20 or 30-minute one than if you felt like you had to start it and it was gonna be an hour and a half, you'd be like, I'm not even launching that thing. Okay, well, those are sort of things, we'll do a little extra cut at the end of the semester where you can send me some feedback and, about the class, but that's the kind of stuff I'm interested in. All right, well, let's get going here on this chapter 14, and we may or may not be able to make it all the way through here without taking one more break, but we'll see how it goes. I do think this is important, this product lifecycle concept. I think it is useful information because if you're operating in business, whatever business you're at currently, it's probably gonna have different products at different levels of their life cycle. If you're a consumer, you're gonna be obviously tracking things that go through their life cycles, and then if you ever become an entrepreneur, you're gonna wanna know where am I at in my launching of this new product or idea. So these are the stages. I think the graph next is pretty good, but before I show you something that's in an introductory stage, a product that right now is kind of brand new, probably not making much money. What are products that come to mind when you're thinking of that?
It's hard to think of one.
My brain jumps to the SpaceX guy. Like he's launching rockets up and all that and trying to figure out how to put people into outer space, and there ain't no way he's making any money right now. He's probably just paying the bills and trying to use it for other reasons to figure out the technology and all that. But that's the one I think of when I think of introductory sort of products. The book's going to show us electric cars, still in pretty introductory stage. Probably going to be here, probably going to matter in the long run, but still pretty new. And then growth stage. If we just stay with cars, what kind of car would you put is in a growth stage?
SUVs.
Okay, maybe. I don't know about that, because they got punched in the mouth in that recession. You know what I mean? So they were, because of the fuel economy being so expensive, they really dropped off. What about hybrid cars? A little more common than electric cars now, right? More people are making hybrids. They're using another technology. Look at the.
We have a lot more cars nowadays, or just cars in general, are looking more like sports cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the SUV thing is going in the other direction a little bit. It seems like you see a little bit of a surge in trucks, or but the Suburbans of the world, it seems like there's just a little bit fewer of those on the
Those
road.
big ones, but like the crossovers.
Oh yeah, those first. Well, a lot of the Subaru's models that are still kind of all-wheel drive, but yet not the gas guzzling, huge ones. Look at this. So we're showing here both the climb of the. Can you see? No, you can't. So the blue line going up, but this is your profit line. Okay, and so way down here, we have launched the product, but we spent so much money getting the product launched that we're way upside down. So the maturity stage, I think most people call smartphones the maturity stage. Probably, maybe just went in there, maybe 4 years ago, something like that. When's the last time you see somebody with a flip phone? I know some people still have them, but a flip phone with no data, no nothing. How long has that been?
Probably seen like 3 people in the last few years.
Yeah.
When it was popular, I was in middle school, so.
Okay, so how long was that? 5 years?
Yeah, 5 or
6?
6 years.
Okay, yeah.
7.
So then, they're probably in maturity stage then, if that's, because that was kind of how I would think, because I know they were cool, but not everybody could afford them, so whatever. So, and then, what about tablets? Like, are they even, somewhere in this in this range, you think, like an iPad, you know, where they're fairly mature, hanging in there, but probably about ready to go. Although I don't know what they'll get replaced with, like, you know, is the tablet gonna go away, or is the laptop gonna go away?
I think it's like a hybrid, like the Surface Pros and stuff like that.
I think that's what's gonna be the
Touchscreen, you can
future.
fill out the keyboard.
Yeah, I don't know, there's just still so many old people who are used to a big giant desktop and a big giant keyboard and whatever. Like, I don't like necessarily working on this little iPad mini that's filming us, like it just doesn't, I'd almost rather work on my phone or work on a full computer.
I like working on computers.
I do prefer like a desktop.
Yeah, yeah, so that's what makes me think that maybe that tablets get less and less popular as your phone does more and more, but I'm still not certain we're gonna be willing to get rid of our laptops, you know? How about a wall phone? Anybody with parents still have the phone on the wall? Some people still, like the biggest thing that was like holding people up, like when my kids were young, was you couldn't call 911 on your cell phone and have them know exactly where you were at. So we had to have a house phone in case the babysitter needed to call 911.
My buddy's still got his grandparents have like 3 house phones, one out in the barn, one here, and they're all like linked together.
I love it.
See, he used to have that, but not no more.
Yeah.
She still got the like,
The old landline.
yeah, his grandpa will be out in the barn and his grandma will be inside, and grandpa will get a phone call, she'll like, hey, go tell grandpa to pick up the phone in the barn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kinda weird.
My grandparents still have the landline.
Yeah.
And it like if they get a call, they're like watching TV, it'll pop up on their TV who's
Yeah.
calling.
Yeah. Okay, so your marketing mix, product, price, place, promotion. As we start working through each of these, obviously our mix of those are gonna change. So let's stay with just price initially. So if we are in the introductory stage, what kind of pricing strategy do you think we have?
Lower.
You might do a market penetration. You also have all these costs I gotta try to make up. So sometimes you're probably at a high price and trusting that the product's innovative enough, it's new enough, and someone's willing to pay that higher price. Kind of think of like Teslas and those sort of things. You know, they're willing to keep the prices up. Now they're coming down now, but so probably still pretty high. And then now the price probably comes down a little bit as we go into growth stage. Why? What's driving the price down as we go into growth stage?
Cause you have a set like market base where people are actually buying it now.
Okay.
Higher demand.
Okay, so the demand's going up, but you gotta think if demand's going up, that shouldn't necessarily affect our price. If we're now in a high growth market and we're making some money, why would we have to lower our price?
We gotta pay more people to.
No. If we were making money before at the introductory stage, okay, if we were to pay our bills there, and now we're just selling a bunch more of them, we're just making more money. So what would cause us to go lower our price?
Doesn't driving your price down,
You could try to increase your volume, but let's say where our volume's already going up, what's gonna force us to drive our price down?
Competition.
There you go. Right, so if we're in a growth market now and we're killing it, and we're making some money, somebody else goes, I'm getting in there,
Mhm.
right? And when they get in and they finally catch up, we gotta lower our price a little bit. Okay, what's prices happening in a maturity market? What are we doing there? No, it's mature now. So price probably going down even a step further, isn't it? Because isn't everybody in that market now? So when we were in the growth stage, it might have been me and one other dude. But now we're in the maturity market. I got 5, 6 different people providing the exact same product I'm providing. And by the way, a new one might have been launched to even replace my product. So price gets even tougher. You got to try to hang in there as best you can. And then obviously on the decline stage, you're really cutting price and trying to liquidate and get out of there. And then let's walk through the promotions, the advertising. Introductory stage. What do you think we need to say in our ad when we're in introductory stage? Brand new product.
your like mission statement and all that stuff.
Satisfaction guarantee.
brand new product, I want you to try this little thing right here.
Once
What-
they do that, the other ones don't.
There you go.
Mhm.
In an introductory stage in our advertising, it's all about, I gotta tell you what it even does. How's it gonna help your life? What's it gonna do for you? Okay? When I get to growth then, I might still be telling you a little bit about that, but now what am I starting to talk about?
It's a better deal.
Then what?
Even better.
There you go. So now in growth stage, I'm starting to position myself. Hey, they do this, but I'm over here. Hey, they're good at that, but I'm really good at this. Okay? So growth stage, you're starting to do there in your advertising. Maturity stage, 6 people out there making the exact same product. What are we doing with our advertising then? First of all, we're probably spending less on advertising, right? Because everybody knows about us.
Maybe like promoting different like bundles.
Okay, yeah, so we're maybe trying to creative, trying to find ways to keep people interested in us, reminding them. So we want to run ads every now and then. Be like, hey, don't forget about us. You know, we're still, you know, selling whatever and that sort of thing. And then what are we doing in advertising on the decline stage? Probably cutting it all together, right? Decline stage, we're just trying to hold on to whatever profits we can make. And so because we've had to continue to cut price, our volume's going down, we gotta find ways to save money, let's just not even advertise at all. Okay? So all those are adjusting as you go through that product life cycle. So what are some of the things that we're trying to get accomplished with regards to price? Obviously, you got to figure out your strategy. Do we want to be in every market everywhere, or we want to be more of a exclusive sort of thing? So you got different strategies. What kind of image, you know, if we offer it low price, does that also mean people think we're cheap? So what pricing strategy you want to connect the image? And so there's kind of several different ways to go about coming up with your price. Target costing is kind of saying, hey, look, we need to make the thing and we want to make a certain amount of profit. And so based on what it's going to cost to make it and the target margin that we want, there's the price of the thing we're going to sell. The other way is to say, hey, look, we're going to look at what our competition is selling the same thing for, and we've got to match it because we realize we can't be more expensive. There's just no reason we'd be any better. Break-even analysis, again, you want to find these are important because you're not going to just use them in business, you're going to use them in your personal life. You know, where is that spot where, based on the cost to produce it, my overhead costs, which he's given a fixed cost here, and variable costs, what's that spot where I pay all my bills? Okay, and that's a break-even analysis. What are the difference between fixed cost and variable costs?
Fixed costs are things that you're gonna have to pay no matter what, over and over.
Yep,
It's not gonna change.
yep.
Variable change.
Change based on what?
Just random factor.
No, not random. What's variable? It's variable to what? It is going to change, but it's going to change based on what? Demand and how much we produce. Okay, so the raw materials that go in to build this desk are variable costs because if we don't build any desks, we don't buy any raw materials. We build 100 desks, we buy that much, and we build 1,000 desks, we buy that much. Those variable costs, varying based on the demand and the production. Fixed costs won't vary at all. We need this room to be able to make tables, so we've bought this room, but if we're not making any tables, we're still paying for the room. Okay? So when you're doing your break-even analysis, you know, that's what you'd be trying to back in. Here's some pricing strategies. We talked about skimming pricing. This is what Apple's doing. Part of why they're skimming is to take advantage of that brand loyalty. But when they launch their new product, they charge a higher price. As it's out there longer, it starts to dip just a little bit, and then it'll dip one more time, and guess what? Bring out a new product, charge it back up to the highest price. That's skimming. Okay, getting is, and why do they do that? Why does Apple skim that way? What's the advantage for them for skimming, a price skimming strategy? We'll come back to it. Everyday low pricing is the opposite. As it says, we're going to price the stuff exactly the same price all the time. Okay, so Walmart, everyday low pricing. Whereas Kohl's is a high-low pricing. Everybody ever go to Kohl's? Or everybody go to Meijer? Like Meijer, you'll find stuff on sale every now and then. Walmart, you will never find anything on sale. It'll be rolled back, but that's its permanent new everyday low price. So just different strategies. So going back to my question about skimming, why doesn't Apple just say, hey, every new phone's gonna be $400? Everyday low price, it's what we're gonna sell that.
To me personally, I think that if you skim things, one, you're getting rid of old inventory, and two, you're just creating a value for the new product of why people want it. So that's why I would.
Okay,
that's why
so
it appeals me to it.
so if I think I wanna make sure I understand what you're saying, but so first of all, if I charge a higher price, people are gonna perceive that it's a newer, better, higher quality, whatever, fill in the blank, right? So if I charge a higher price, people are gonna, it's a luxury item, they're gonna fill in, there's some value there, okay? And then what was your point about, you wanna get the old inventory out of people's hands? Okay. You're Apple, I'm gonna force you to give me an answer. So you're Apple, and you can either set it at $400, or I can start at 6, and then in 6 months go to 5, and 6 months after that go to 4. Why would I do that? It's not a trick question.
To see where they're gonna buy the most at what price.
Well, I mean, like,
Okay.
demand starts dropping, you start like lowering your prices.
Yeah.
Kind of balance it out on the way down.
Yeah. So they're skimming because they know we have a target market who will wait in line, who will pay no matter what the number is, right? We have a group of our current people that we sell to that will buy that thing almost regardless of what the price is. But if we roll it out and we say, hey, they're only $400, they're like, sweet, I'm gonna buy them for $400. They're gonna buy them for $800. So why would we wanna leave that money on the table, right? Let's go get that money. And then, after they bought it, let's go, okay, now we really know we have another group that they ain't gonna pay that for it. But if we drop it to here, they will. And then we get that group. And then we know there's the rest of the users who really want a $400 phone, and we'll get there eventually, and they'll buy that one. Do you see how much more money they made? And what they're really cashing in on is back to that concept of brand loyalty, right? Because they have that tight of a top level group, they're willing to buy it no matter what, okay? Penetration's price strategy, I think it's the easiest to think about. Penetrating price strategy is all about, I wanna be in every market, everywhere, and so I wanna price it as cheap as I can just to get my more sales out there, get people using my product more, etc. Okay, we touched on high-low pricing. That's kind of putting stuff on sale. Like I said, if you've ever been in Kohl's, it's like everything is on sale. And then psychological pricing, that can be like the 0.99. You know, it can be kind of a perceived dollar value meal. You know, those sort of things are psychological pricing. Okay, marketing intermediaries are basically people who are helping businesses get their product to the marketplace. And so we're kind of moving from price into place. Again, price, place, promotions, and product, the 4 Ps. Okay, so we're moving into place a little bit here. Think about it this way, you know, if you wanted to buy something, if I gave you a free pizza, would you want it? My price is in line, 0. Okay, it's the type of pizza you want as well. My product's good. Okay, I just told you about it. You liked my ad, it informed you. So who wants the free pizza? If I tell you the free pizza is in Chicago, do you still want the free pizza? No. If I tell you it's in the lobby, you want it, right? So these marketing intermediaries are trying to help organizations get the product to the place that the customer wants it to be. So think of the channel distribution. I know a couple of you guys are in the supply chain class. This would be from manufacturer going out to the retail location. Okay, it's the half of the supply chain that's closest to the customer. So agents and brokers, again, the kind of difference there. An agent typically is related to one of the two parties that are trying to get the deal done. So think of a sports agent, an insurance agent. You with me? They want to get the deal done, but they're really aligned with one of the two parties that's there. A broker is truly a middleman. A broker's like, I don't know you any better than you, but I can help you get this deal done. And I'll make some transactions in the middle here to get things done. A wholesaler, where do we see wholesaling at in business? What are some examples of wholesalers that you guys might think of? It's a little bit of a tougher concept.
It's not owned by anyone else, so like everything that you have is yours.
No, what services, what value, I'll go back to our very first slide of value. What value does a wholesaler provide? Why are they in this list as a marketing intermediary?
Customer satisfaction.
What's a wholesaler do?
Provide quantity or a discount price.
So that's where you, as consumers, we'll see wholesalers like Costco and Sam's Club, and they'll position themselves wholesalers because you might go get better than retail price because you've gone back. You're not a retailer. You've gone back one layer. But we need to understand what a wholesaler does. The easiest way to I think, for people to picture what the value a wholesaler brings to the table is to think about a convenience store. Think of all of the products that go into a Speedway gas station or a convenience store, okay? Just the candy aisle alone, there's probably, there's probably 10 to 15 different manufacturers just in the candy aisle alone, right? Now go chips, same thing, automotive supplies, same thing, drinks, my goodness, So if Speedway wanted to replenish their supplies, could you see how they would have to contact probably daily 40 different manufacturers? Probably a little bit of a hassle, right? But what if I had a candy wholesaler, a chip wholesaler, and a drink wholesaler? Now I'm gonna contact 3. And I get to say, I want this, and this, and I want them all on Friday, and I'll call you again on Monday, and I'll tell you again what else we need, right? So that would be convenient. That's a lot of what wholesaling is doing, is they're saying, all these options are out there, we'll bring them together and kind of pool them together for you so that now your ordering becomes easier. And then a retailer, I think we get. This is just showing that different distribution channels will have different intermediaries. So I think one of the easy ones we've talked about in our supply chain is the computer industry. So some computers will be built specifically for a customer and shipped directly to the customer. No marketing intermediaries at all. Others will be built and sent to Best Buy, and Best Buy will sell them, and now the Best Buy is a retailer intermediary for them. Yeah, so here's a slide trying to show you what I was talking about with the Speedway example. Wow, man, this looks pretty crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just trying to simplify it. Say, hey, look, we'll bring all together your candy, your whatever. Again, normally a business to business is where you see wholesalers a lot. Agents and brokers we just touched on. One of the ways sales agents help too, think about if you were selling some sort of kind of, unique sort of pair of gloves, right? And you're like, man, I could sell them to Home Depot and Lowe's and everywhere, but they're like a pair of gloves. Like, how exciting am I gonna get? Can I get someone to let me into their office? Can I drive around the whole country trying to sell these pair of gloves? Or what if I hire a sales agent and he's gonna sell my gloves, but he's also gonna sell buckets and mops and brooms and shovels? Now the efficiency of the return on the sales he's making is probably a little bit more, right? Because I finally get my appointment with you and I go in, you're like, I don't want any of those gloves, but I need some brooms, right? So sales agents a lot of times are guys that are selling multiple types of product lines that are in some sort of combined product mix. A lot of retailers, and obviously the websites are starting to cut into those traditional brick and mortar retailers. Different types of department stores, category killers, that might be one you might think of. Once you kind of put the name with it, it should make sense, right? And they go into a very specialized area. Okay, so category killers. Anybody a Bass Pro Shop person? Right, Office Depot, Staples, okay. Outlet stores, specialty stores, just breaking down different types of retail stores. Discount stores and supermarkets are getting closer and closer all the time to being the same thing. Okay, still staying with place here. As a business, we get to make a decision. Do we want intensive distribution, which is I want to get my product in the hands of everybody? If we want intensive distribution, what type of pricing strategy are we probably going to use?
Low.
And what's the term though?
Everyday low price.
Nah, you might.
Man.
I'm pretty sure the test question won't be low.
Oh.
Is it skimming? If we want intensive distribution, are we going to use skimming? No. Penetrating pricing. Probably what we're going to do, right? Because we want to get it into everybody's hands. So we're using a penetrative pricing strategy, but we're also using an intensive distribution strategy. If we don't want that, we want to go more selective. Now we're saying, look, I'm going to choose who represents me. You mentioned you're interested in watches. Is there a certain jeweler that has certain watches that you like, or does everybody have all the ones you like? Okay, so they're being selective distribution. Some of those watch companies are saying, look, I don't want every jeweler out there to represent me. I want that one, and that's it. Okay, selective. And then exclusive is kind of think more like I gave you rights to Lafayette. So, I'm wanting to launch this on-demand transportation service. The business exists in other cities. I would have exclusive rights to Indianapolis. Okay, so exclusive distribution. So what do you think we're doing with some of these? Well, let's start with which one of these we think are as intensive distribution? Diet Pepsi for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Snickers, probably about it, right? Then we go exclusive distribution, which is now more geographically based. You might be
Rolls-Royce.
probably Rolls-Royce, and maybe polo shirts. No, because they're going to be in more than one location, aren't they?
Pianos.
Yeah, maybe. And then selective would probably be polo shirts, right? I choose which ones I want to have them at golf clubs. So they get to decide. Anybody had a telemarketing job before? And that's popular since the whole do not call list, but man, there were a lot of jobs in telemarketing. I worked some telemarketing. Inbound telemarketing, not too bad. Outbound telemarketing, that's tough. Electronic retailing, we get that. Direct selling, again, typically more in a business-to-business application, but like, I don't know, how does H&M, do they have people on the floor that help you choose what you want and stuff, and are they important to the process or just more ancillary?
They're important to the process in the fact that I don't have to wait to cash out.
Okay.
There's usually always someone at the counter.
Okay,
Or if I
but
do
what about
something-
like when you're trying stuff on and all that, are they, like, I've never been there, I'm not trying to be funny, so there are a bunch of them, or is it more like one person, make sure you don't steal stuff, and they'll go get you stuff if you ask them to, but they're not really gonna come up and be like, oh man, you look great in that, you know?
Yeah, they're not like that.
Okay.
It's not like.
So it's not super hands-on, right?
But if I need someone, I can find someone easily.
Okay, whereas like Nordstrom, would be super hands-on, they'd be
Yeah.
up in you, and they'd be like, anything you need, what can I do to help,
Like
right?
warehouse kind of like.
So that would be direct selling, but that'd still be direct selling, that would be selling to the consumer directly, right? But a lot of direct selling is business to business, okay? So there's a lot of great jobs out there. I kind of hope my son goes into that. Cause there's just a lot of,
If you shop at Buckle, that's how they are.
but is that what do they sell?
Just,
I'm guessing belts?
no, clothes,
Oh,
just
okay.
expensive clothes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, dude.
It's ridiculous how much their jeans and stuff cost. I used to shop there, I don't anymore, but they're like that, they'll be with you the whole time.
Yeah,
They
whatever
have
you
a lot of
need.
commission too.
What's that?
They make commission too, so.
Yeah,
They're real big
Like
on
Foot
it.
Locker, they're kind of good commission too.
yeah. Direct marketing, whereas now we're trying to remove those intermediaries. I talked about Dell selling the computer directly to the end consumer. They would have to have direct marketing then, trying to reach those consumers directly. Supply chain, most of you guys are in the supply chain class, but you get that, but supply chain it would be now talking about all the way from raw material, all the way to the consumer having it, and in fact then them being able to return it to you as well. And so a lot of different people involved in that it's a stink bug too, I think, which I think you're not supposed to kill those. He was on the back wall at one point. Yeah.
Get out of my class.
Again, the supply chain, we've covered these.
CRM is important,
You got that figured out yet?
I think so.
Yeah.
Customer relation.
Ship.
Management.
It's an M. You said plan. It's an M.
Oh, no,
CRM.
that's what confused me.
Customer relationship management.
Management.
Yeah.
It was in one of our, Learn Smart questions.
Yeah. So I went into, so I walked into Speedway today, and they're hiring a CSR. You want to take a guess what a CSR is?
Customer service,
Representative.
There you go.
that's what I was gonna say.
Get you some more caffeine, bro.
I need some.
So again, we covered these, but, you know, for Marcus here, trucks, lots of flexibility, in trucks because they can go door to door. The real breakdown is, you know, rail can carry a lot of weight over a long distance. Trucks can be very flexible. Ships are really slow, but again, can carry a lot of weight and obviously can float, which not many of these other options can. And then air is probably the fastest, but the most expensive. So take my supply chain class, unless they fire me. Okay, so here's the promotional mix of different types of ways to promote. We almost always think, when we hear promotion, we think advertising, most of us. Okay, but there are other ways to promote your product. And so these are some of those other ways. We talked about personal selling a little bit. What do you think they mean by sales promotion? Or add plural, I think it's easier to hear sales promotions. Not an ad, not a personal selling, not direct selling. What are some other ways to get you to, anybody shop at Costco?
No.
You don't shop? Oh man, Costco's good. They got, you can get a giant hot dog and a soda for $1.50. It's about one of the few places I can feed all my kids. Get a pizza slice for like $2.50. That's like a quarter of a pizza.
Is that like, kinda like,
It's like a Sam's Club. It's down in the big city. You guys may not have one up here yet. Good stuff. All right, so what they do, a bunch of tastings. I think Kroger does them a little bit every now and then, but you're walking around the store and they're like, hey, try this, try that. That's sales promotions. Anybody, like I'm huge with the whole Speedway loyalty card, like the Speedway points. It's a sales promotion. How about anybody do like Monopolies, McDonald's Monopoly game, or those sort of things, sales promotions, right? The how about the Super Bowl? Enter the Super Bowl ad with your Doritos or whatever, and maybe you win the ad, you win this, and right, sales promotion. Get people talking about Doritos, okay? Or even just simply a coupon. It's not an ad, it's a sales promotion. Okay, those are all ways to promote your product. The thing to think about with advertising is it's paid and it's non-personal. Okay, and that's why they call this personal selling. Right? If I run an ad that you guys get to see, it's not speaking to you directly. But if I'm standing in front of you, I can now alter my sales pitch to answer questions you have and be very personal to the situation. And then public relations, what are we talking about there? Where do you see public relations happen? Think when really bad things happen. Think like the BP oil spill. Spills happened. What are they doing?
Let you know what they're doing to fix it.
Yeah, they're trying to get in front of the camera and say, here's what we're trying to do to fix it. They're probably saying they're sorry, right? And then 4 years later, after they've even poured a bunch of money into trying to get the place, they might run a commercial and says, hey, look, our beaches are looking like this. You know, they have or like in my nonprofit, I'll have an event and I'll try to get the news cameras to come cover my event. I didn't pay the news cameras to come, so it's not an ad because I didn't pay for it, but they come and film this event and I get some coverage. I get to promote my service without having to pay for it. Okay. So like well, you guys aren't as much into the sports, but Robert Kraft being arrested for solicitation. You know, that's a PR nightmare, right? He's trying to figure out how am I gonna handle this because this tape is gonna get out. There's just no way. Now he's got a lot of money, so, but they supposedly have him on video having sex with a prostitute, and he's a billionaire. Can you imagine once that goes out? Oof. Okay, so advertising we talked about, inform, persuade, remind. So think about introductory stage, inform, growth stage, persuade, maturity stage, remind. It's a rough estimate of when you might be using those. Obviously, as consumers, a lot of times we're trying to dodge customers or dodge their advertisements, but they're everywhere, they're tough to get away from. Product placement. I love this. Anybody see Castaway? It's an old one with Tom Hanks. The whole dang movie was basically about FedEx. I thought it was so cool.
I like Wayne's World, when they're like doing that little segment about they have like the pizza and the Doritos.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's
I don't think I've
awesome.
seen that one,
That's perfect.
but yeah. So it's getting more and more popular. I think the Transformers had Camaros in there or whatever, and you know, so again, why as consumers, we're getting creative at dodging commercials. So the traditional commercial, we're either fast forwarding through or not even seeing it at all, right? So they're trying to get more creative of ways to get in front of you.
Back to Transformers, I remember, you look at it, it was the newest one. The guy comes up and you can see he's wearing these Oakley sunglasses.
Yeah.
I had the same one, look like that.
Yeah, yep. You start seeing even like sitcoms and, you know, they used to be like, you know, the sitcom, the guy would be drinking a beer and it would say beer on it, you know, and now it's always like, hey, can we sell? So, you know, so.
Like Drake and Josh, they used to drink Mountain Fizz.
Yeah. Celebrity endorsements, you know, obviously being so big on social media now, it's just another way for celebrities to make money. Global advertising. The thing that I think we need to touch on here is we've got to be very, very sensitive to the cultures that we're advertising in and realizing that they are different. And we need to have a different approach. Maybe not have to have a different product, but we definitely probably have a different message. And personal selling we've touched on. Anybody in here thinking about getting into sales? Donnie, maybe?
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. It used to be this sort of had like a negative, sort of stressful sort of vibe, and I think it's changing a little bit. Selling strategies. Again, this presentation step here, it might just be a quick conversation, doesn't have to be some big full-blown presentation. The follow-up is usually what people don't do very well. We talked about public relations and publicity. That publicity with like when somebody comes and covers my event. It says it's free, it's not always free because sometimes you've had to have a public relations employee at least try to get it set up, and so you have some odd costs that way, but the actual airtime you don't pay for. Disadvantages of publicity or PR. is I don't have really control over it, because I'm not paying for it. I can't really say, oh, don't include that shot of me, or, oh, that's embarrassing, don't put that in there. If they're producing it, they get to do however they want. Touched on, sales, types of sales promotions. We didn't have, trade shows in there. That's a good one to think about too, on business to business. It's not really an ad, not really a coupon, but I'm definitely promoting my business or my product. See if we missed any others in here. Anybody, which one of these is favorite? You guys probably aren't coupon guys. Most people are kind of done with coupons.
I like contests.
Yeah. Or I throw loyalty cards in there too. Like, I don't like to carry around the loyalty cards, so I like it like Moe's where you can just type in your phone number. Like, don't let me carry one of those little things. And of course, I know a lot of times you can get them on your phone, but I'm still rocking the BlackBerry. I can't get those on my phone, so.
I have a couple cards, but I like to type.
Like Qdoba makes me mad. I think you're supposed to have like the actual card or on your phone again, but I don't have it on my phone. So then I go in, when I buy my thing, I don't get my little loyalty stuff. You guys are done. I understand. I'm about done. Hang in there. Got a couple slides here. Word of mouth, and the word of mouth type of promotion is still extremely valuable. And then thinking kind of like word of mouth on steroids with the whole social media platforms that are out there. Still word of mouth. A lot of the experts believe that's really that's really where the technology is going to keep moving to, with these things like reviews and people's feedback. And I think you're eventually going to get to like, I don't want everybody's reviews. I want that guy's review and that guy's review and that guy's review, because that's who I trust. And we'll get the technology to only show you those instead of show you everybody's.
That's like with movies, how they have like the, what is it, Rotten Tomatoes or whatever.
Yeah.
Reviews. When you go online.
Yeah, I
and
haven't
search
seen,
a
I
movie-
didn't know the name of that
If
one.
you go online and search a movie, it has like 2 or 3 different, big review companies, and it says 4 out of 5 star for this guy.
I
Yeah,
got
some
you.
are like search, people that search it, they grade it, and then one's like a site that hosts ratings.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, so I think that stuff's gonna, and I think it's good we have it now, but it's still a little clunky. Like, I think it's gonna get to where all you're gonna do is type in that movie title you're thinking of, and your specific people that you want those reviews from are gonna be right there in front of you.
You
Yeah.
know, yours like the customer.
Yeah, like you're going to, by usage, you're gonna be able to say, I trust this reviewer and that reviewer when I'm looking at movies. And so when I search for a movie, don't give me the 1,000 people who are random Tom, Dick, or Harry that said they liked it or hated it. Give me what those people thought about it, right? Because that's who I'm gonna trust.
Yeah, 'cause a lot of people just complain.
Yeah, exactly. And yet I gotta filter through all those, and it's just confusing, and I don't know what I really left with. Whereas if you start to, and therefore it's like a friend, we have some friends that you trust maybe to make a phone decision, or what kind of shoes I'm gonna get, or what kind of car I'm gonna buy. You know what friends those are, and you would trust them. You call them and they say, man, don't get that, that's bad, whatever, and you're like, okay, I won't.
It'd be cool if they had like, when you're doing a review, have like different multiple things you can click on, like how was flexibility with this company, how was this? Cause a lot of people will rate her 1 star and then.
Cause it was dirty,
Yeah.
yeah. But
then
you're like, I don't care if it's dirty.
Yeah,
You know what I
that doesn't appeal to every part
Yes.
of the customer base.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's what I think they're gonna get figuring out. Again, supply chain, we've talked a lot about push and pull strategies. But push strategy is this idea of producing something all the way up to an edge before the customer begins to demand it. All right, there's a wrap. All right, so you guys can be done. Do your Learn Smarts at home. I'll stick around and try to get, because we're 15 and 16 next week. So I'll stick around today and try to get those loaded up. Come next week, we need to be, so I'll be in class Monday night next week, so you guys will be on your own. But I need to know what day you want to present with your group by next week, okay? All right, see you guys.